Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we have some news today. Tuesday Newsday returns, it seems, where we have some starting positions for the Immortal Empires, for the Empire and the Chaos Demons. So there's a lot to talk about today, and obviously Creative Assembly have released a blog. They've provided to us a little bit earlier just to make sure that we can prepare videos and all that, so thank you to Creative Assembly. And let's not waste any more time and jump right in. So it has been confirmed that they're going to be starting to focus on the start positions, and as the coming weeks do happen, they'll be providing more and more context for all the different races and factions, which I think is a good thing, because obviously we have a bunch of races and factions that were introduced in Warhammer 3. They've also stated, while the starting positions for most of our legendary lords will be unchanged in Immortal Empires, we've altered where 29 factions begin their journey based on a variety of factions, and the key reasons behind these are centered around lore, racial diversity in certain regions, or to spice up familiar battles. So I think that's pretty cool. They're trying to just change some stuff around without, say, for example, moving Karl Franz, because, well, it makes sense that he's an Altdorf, he is the Emperor after all. So I kind of like how everything's going, and we've got to talk about, well, quite a variety of different things. So let's jump into the Empire section first. So in a bustling battlefield, we have so much information here about the Empire. As you've no doubt gleaned from the banner image, there are few better races to kick off this set of reveals than the Empire. The poster boys of the original Total War Warhammer, the Empire is the largest and most important race in the Old War, don't tell Kislev, and have been fighting all forms of foul beasts encroaching upon its borders for millennia. So now we've got the details. Karl Franz, it wouldn't be the Empire without an Emperor. Karl Franz continues his ambitions to unite the Elector Counts from the starting settlement of Altdorf. This makes a lot of sense, like I said earlier in the video. Next, Balthazar Gelt, the Supreme Patriarch of the Colleges of Magic, continues his own fascination with alchemy from the starting settlement of Feldorf. So this is once again in Solent. That makes a lot of sense. It's a decent start, it pins you up with a lot of different enemies, plus it's close to Karl Franz for easy confederation. Next, we've got Marcus Wolfheart, leading his motley crew of warriors known as Wolfheart's Hunters. The Huntsmaster continues his expeditions within the dangerous jungles of Lustria, starting in the settlement of the Creeping Jungle. We'll be checking out the map in just one second. But now we look towards Volkmar the Grim. The Grand Theogenist for the Church of Sigmar has abandoned the petty squabbles of the Elector Counts in favour of a zealous crusade within the Southern Realms. His starting settlement will be Suddenburg, interesting, where rumour has it that he's hell-bent on finding certain dark artifacts. Okay, so we get a little bit of a hint as to what he's going to be doing down south, which is really, really cool. And yeah, let's go check out the map. Alright, so this is Immortal Empires with just the Empire at the moment, so we can see Franz and Balthazar Gelt stay the same. I think that they've kind of moved up the Huntsmaster a little bit. It's been a while. Keep in mind that I just don't like playing in Lustria. I will probably enjoy Lustria more now with the Immortal Empires because, well, it's just no longer the Lustria ball now that it's full-sized. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see from there. Though, we've got the really interesting one. The logo for the Church of Sigmar is exactly how I envisioned it. So I'm really, really happy about that. Obviously, that's down south in the Suddenburg area. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Because what we know there is, obviously, it's very close to where Cetra would be. If he stays the same, I imagine he will. Then obviously Repulse, unless she gets moved. It's going to be for a lot of interesting fights, I'd say. It's going to be really, really interesting. It's definitely very different to what we've seen. I personally would have liked to see Volkmar in the Northern Chaos race, you know, going on a proper anti-Chaos crusade, you know, going after Belcor and all that type of stuff, because they do have a lot of beef in 6th edition. It's pretty grim. But yeah, but obviously they're probably just thinking about, you know, getting a little bit of racial diversity, and I guess that works out quite well. Suddenburg did belong to the Empire when we look into the game files for Warhammer 2, so yeah, it's a pretty good start. I think some people actually kind of predicted this too. So yeah, no, I'm actually quite happy. Alright, so now we're moving on to the demons, and this one I've been really curious about because obviously there's been some data mining, and the data mining looks like it's right. So Nekari, defeated by the High Elves of Ulthuan long ago, Nekari has returned to the Shrine of Kurnos, where he seeks his vengeance after waiting for an eternity. So yeah, Nekari is an Ulthuan, which is really exciting for me because that's actually something I've really been hoping for. It's going to be for a fun campaign. Next we have Kairos Fateweaver. The Oracle of Tzeentch has invaded from the Southern Wastes. and has conquered the Fortress of Dawn. Interesting. Though his designs are as unknowable as ever, I guess there's a bit of a spelling mistake there. That's really down south. That's actually more or less where Queek starts in the Eye of the Vortex campaign. I'm expecting Queek to be further up north, as usual with the Immortal Empires, but yeah, really, really interesting start. Skarbrand's also got a really cool one too. Driven by his endless rage and bloodlust, Skarbrand wages war against the savage orcs in the Badlands, collecting and piling their skulls in Death Gorge. That's really close to Cetra too. Interesting. Very, very curious. I wouldn't have pictured him there. I would have pictured him in the Northern Wastes, but that is a really interesting start. It's close to Kairos, I guess, but it's also pretty far away. I'm into it, but it's also kind of just odd. But maybe we're going to have to wait and see when we can actually play for ourselves to see how this goes. Next, Kor'gath Plaguefather. Kor'gath has sailed from the southern wastes, drawn by the putrid sludge near the mouth of the River Ruin, settling nearby in Dragonfang Mount within the Dragon Isles. Okay, so I'm guessing that Malice is getting moved? Because that's Malice's start, isn't it? In the Immortal Empires? Very curious. I guess it's isolated in a sense, and you can just move in forward. It won't be too much of a noticeable campaign for now, I guess, but when the Chaos Dwarves eventually come, that's going to be really, really interesting, because I don't know how Nurgle is going to be able to do versus Chaos Dwarf firepower. It's definitely going to be a very hard campaign, but that's something that we can worry about in the future. And lastly, the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince moves to the Forest of Decay in the Northern Chaos Wastes, allowing him to compete for ultimate leadership of Chaos. Okay, very, very interesting. Let's just look at the map. Alright, so if we look at the map now, this is actually pretty cool. Okay, so I did have some reservations, but this isn't too bad, because that definitely means that we're getting some stylized different starts. And it's going to be good because, let's be honest, if everyone kind of started in the wastes like they do in the Realm of Chaos map, it'd be kind of boring because we're already kind of used to that. I wonder, are there going to be minor Chaos Demon factions around that area, or we're going to be very much alone? I mean, Kairos should be fine because the Southern Waste should have demon factions. Kor'gath looks like he's going to be very much alone. Skarbrand is too, but then again, Skarbrand is fine because, I mean, let's be honest, Skarbrand is very, very strong. Nekari... yeah, I imagine he's going to be alone, but mind you, I'm imagining that the Dark Elf faction stays there too, because the whole thing with Alariel. So potentially you've got a basic ally there, though I wonder how the Dark Elves are going to do with aversion to Sonesh. That's going to be very interesting to see. And, well, it's nice to see that we're getting a move for the Demon Prince. I know a lot of people are thinking, yeah, you know, Daniel's alright, and Daniel's quite strong considering he's got a massive roster. So... yeah, I'm really curious to see how his gameplay changes, considering it's not really that far from where he starts. I mean, the Doomkeep is in the Ice Troll Mountains, so... well, was it in the Ice Troll Mountains? I'm going to have to check eventually in the Immortal Empires normal, but he's definitely in a safer position, I guess? I mean, that's the best way I can explain it, because he's very much surrounded by Chaos factions if we get what we're expecting. I mean, to the left should be some Norscan tribes, considering what we know from Mortal Empires. To the south, obviously, is loads of Norscan tribes. And to the east should be, well, demons, and demons. I'm really, really curious. I'm excited. Kor'gath looks like he's going to be fun. Like, again, like I said, when Chaos Dwarves come in, that's going to be tough, because a lot of firepower, a lot of fire. It's going to be very difficult for Kor'gath. I hope that Creative Assembly have fought ahead. The Nekari one seems like the best one for me. Obviously, there's this obvious Slanesh bias on my part, and I've always wanted to do the whole corruption of the donut, so this is going to be really, really fun. Skarbrand again, yeah, it's going to be interesting. You're going to be fighting a lot of stuff. I mean... there's where, what, Malagor starts, and obviously you've got Cetra. Does Khalida start here too? It would be cool. You've got Volkmar to go fight. Obviously up north you've got loads of stuff like Grimgor and all that. Wurzag. Yeah, this is going to be really, really fun. I am actually really excited for this. I hope it doesn't take too long for us to start seeing where the other races are. I mean, you know, August is just kind of around the corner, so I'm imagining they're going to have to start ramping up. But yeah, this is really interesting. This is honestly really, really interesting. The blog itself is fairly short, but we do have some information here. First, we're joined by familiar faces. That's all the starting positions that we'll be unveiling today, but we'll be revealing the starting factions of all 86 legendary lords on our social channels over the coming weeks. While some of these will have relatively minor but exciting changes like the Empire, others will see several factions jumping to entirely new pastures. Ooh. So obviously Lizardmen, Norska, Kislev. Ooh, Kislev's getting changes? High Elves, Bretonia, Grand Cafe? Cafe, really? Well, that's kind of curious. Skaven, I'm expecting some Skaven changes. Greenskins, Ogres, Beastmen, Tomb Kings, Wood Elves, Vampire Coast, Dwarfs, Dark Elves, Vampire Counts, and Warriors of Chaos. Right, I think they're just listing all the races. I think so. I don't think everything's changing, unless like every faction's getting a change, which would be kind of cool. I don't know. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to get my hopes up because, yeah, we just have to wait, right? Though if every race and faction is getting a bit of an update, that would be wonderful, considering that some of them have gotten a bit stale. It would be nice to see loads of start position changes. They did say it was around 29 that are getting switched around, so yeah, it's very, very possible. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm excited. And obviously up next, they say that next week they're going to be giving us some inside look towards Be'lakor and the other new dedicated factions coming to Immortal Empires. I'm really, really excited. Like, they're really hyping it up. I've noticed that they're being much more vocal on social media and all that, so this is really good. Hopefully this means that it continues. I would love to see this sort of communication post Immortal Empires, like, you know, just chatting more with the fan base, because this has been really, really good. It's made me much more positive about things, and let's be honest, I've been a little negative because, well, they got quiet like they normally do, and you know, it's not good. But this is fantastic. I'm loving this. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. I wonder what you guys think about the demon changes, more specifically. All those weird start positions, which are exciting, but still kind of weird. I'm still trying to process this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we'll start a bit of discussion. This should be fun. Have a nice day, guys.